even know that we had a bombing in Waco. This picture shows the compound as it was being, I dare say, attacked on the day that the whole compound was burned. You can see a tank entering the building here. This towering part of the building is over about a 20-foot by 20-foot reinforced concrete structure that they call the Church Records Vault. And you have a tower above that, three or four floors. And I want you to note this window right here. You have a flagpole, and the line of sight from the TV camera that took the pictures that I will show you of the explosion was lined up across here so you can precisely determine the line of sight from the camera back to the fire. And you have tanks in behind, a tank back here that had been driving into the building and collapsing the structures in the behind, and this channel across here finally tumbled down, and the walls were pushed in very much around the whole building. And then these two tanks finally pulled away in just a few seconds after, a few minutes after they pulled away. The whole thing was engulfed with fire flame. It started right here and here and back in here. And with very high winds, it was consumed fairly quickly. Now, if you look at this picture, you can see you see the arrow, you can see a bright spot. And that is right there. That is the window that I was pointing out to you, and you can even see the cross piece in there, because when that demolition charge went off in that building, the walls really provided tamping, and the force that they exert back on the expanding gases is very high because the pressure is so moving so fast and the pressure is so high. It's like hitting a baseball with a bat. The faster you hit the ball, the greater the pressure on it, and the same thing is true in the tamping effect of a building surrounding detonation products. And the second frame shows it blasting through the window. The second frame shows it getting over to the corner, and the building comes apart, and you can see in all those pictures there, the distortions and perturbations in the expansion of that gas cloud are caused by the dynamic flow of the gaseous products around the building components as it is blown up. And you can see here the further expansion of the fireball, and it starts to lift down here in this particular area. But that was a detonation of a demolition charge in the building. Now, if you look at the top, after the fire, you look at the top, and there's a hole, probably 2 feet across, and that's the kind of hole you get with a demolition charge. You have concrete in contact or close proximity to high explosives, and the pressure is several hundred times the yield strength of the concrete, so the concrete in the area of the hole there just turned to dust. And you have, of course, fairly high dynamic gas pressures going down into the bunker below. And the red flag in all these pictures will denote a burned or charred body, and there's a body, and you can see the ribs there. But down inside of the bunker, there were 28 women and children, and there is the bunker after the fire. The tank drove into the building and stayed for some time. There's all the kitchen stuff. It went through 4 walls and a kitchen, and all that was pushed up against the building. You can see the cold-poured concrete lines in that picture, and they're all cracked from the pressure inside, all corners around the top and down the corners on the side, because when the gas pressure from that demolition charge went into the building, it tended to blow it up like a balloon. So all the external walls were in tension. This picture shows you the building, and the back side of it, you can see the little hairline cracks all up and down here and here. Now, it was reported that explosion was a propane tank. That was what it was blamed on. But there's the propane tank. There's no damage to the propane tank. There were some pictures, reported pictures of it that showed this end blown off, but they were doctored pictures. So there's the propane tank. You see the tension cracks. You had the pressure inside the building. and I am told by the investigators, the chief investigator for the case that's being tried, and I was asked to do this forensic. The only reason I got into it, I was asked to do this forensic, and I was provided all this material on it. I was told that the building, the tank, had never even been serviced. There had never been any propane at all. Now, it's obvious to me that the room inside the bunker had been prepped for this picture. You have all these guns stacked against the wall, but if you notice here, there's a gun against the gun and a gun against that gun, and there's about 3 or 4 guns together. And if you had the equivalent of 3 or 4 F-16 jet blasts down in here, I don't know how you burned those and left them stacked against the wall with the gas dynamic pressures and gas flow in there. Secondly, from the fall from the hole in the top or anywhere else, you'd never find it lined up around one wall and not around the other wall. So it would be symmetric to the hole or something else. So the room was quite well prepared for that picture. So what happened down there at WACO? There are a lot of things and a lot of misinformation put out, and I just pointed out some of the things in misrepresenting the truth with respect to what happened at WACO. They went back in and they scraped down to get rid of all evidence. All the building there was crushed and hauled away and disposed of, and then they went back in sometime later and scraped about 8 inches of soil up to get rid of all further evidence. Now here's the